Think about all the great people in history who you wished you could have witnessed in your life. Whatever generation you belong to, there are always people from the past who you admire, take inspiration from, and maybe even aspire to be. There is a thing about getting older. You suddenly start to find the past more interesting, the figures from history more captivating, and the stories more fascinating. For those who have shared their time here on earth with such legends, they may tell you how they took it for granted that they would always be here, and that many were not truly revered and remembered as they should be until they were gone. For those of us that grew up from the 1950s through to the 1980s, we were truly living in a golden age of icons, especially in the music world. From Elvis Presley to Little Richard, the Beatles to the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, David Bowie, Aretha Franklin, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, Queen, ABBA, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Whitney Houston, George Michael, the list could go on and on and on. And then we have Prince.
Thunder all through the night. Promise to see Jesus in the morning.
So many of the icons, some of which I already mentioned, made a huge impact on popular culture in so many different ways, but none more so than Prince. Ask any self-respecting musician and I guarantee you that they have been influenced by Prince at some point. Nobody is held in higher regard by their peers than Prince, and for good reason. Prince just wasn't a pop star. He wasn't just a singer. He wasn't a product of manufactured pop or reality TV. He was the genuine article, self-taught, born with an incredible natural talent, the likes of which we may never see again. In a world when the term genius is given out like sweets to children, Prince really was a true one-of-a-kind genius. Those kind of cars don't pass you every day. Prince could do it all, from singing to playing most of the instruments, writing, producing and arranging his music, dancing and choreography, directing videos and feature films, to running his own massive studio complex at Paisley Park. There seemed to be nothing that Prince couldn't do. There was no end to his creative output. Always working, hardly ever sleeping, he spent over 40 years endlessly creating. When all his peers and his contemporaries from his generation had lost the fire in the belly, Prince outlasted and outpaced them all until his tragic passing, leaving behind the famous vault in Paisley Park, filled with thousands of unreleased songs, unreleased albums, films, videos, and hours of live footage from Prince's incredible live shows. There is nobody else in the history of music to have such a vault and such a massive amount of unreleased material. That's not even taking into account the huge amount of content Prince did actually release. Then there was the tours. Prince was constantly on the road, almost every year of his career. World tours, European tours, American tours. That's not even including all the after shows and one-off appearances or award show performances, TV specials, and of course, that Super Bowl performance. Prince must have performed more shows than any artist in history, including a still unbroken record of 21 nights at London's O2 Arena. Prince's live performance was legendary. The excitement that he generated just by his presence was truly remarkable. He was the ultimate perfectionist of his craft, being in total control where the lighting should be, where he was going to dance, where his band members should be. Prince would famously rehearse his bands for hours and hours, often learning hundreds of songs, just in case he chose to call one up during a show. All of his band members were musicians of the highest calibre, and boy they needed to be, as Prince was usually better at their given instrument than they were. Just watch Prince's Super Bowl performance, probably one of the most iconic live performances of the 21st century so far. In the pouring rain and thunder, the show went on, with Prince famously quipping, "Can you make it rain harder?" That image of the cymbal stage, bathed in beautiful purple lights, Prince's silhouette behind a massive white sheet with his cymbal guitar in hand, is just the stuff of legend. Prince was such a unique talent, and his live performance is so legendary that he could go any number of years out of the public consciousness and out of the charts and still sell out show after show after show. Prince was also a fashion icon with a unique style all of his own that only he could pull off. Prince continually reinvented himself over and over, from trench coats and bikini underwear to ruffled shirts and purple coats, psychedelic cloud suits to peach and black outfits and polka dot suits. The list is endless. Take a look at this. Every outfit custom made with matching heels, Prince was rarely ever seen wearing the same outfit twice, probably only on stage being the only times. Prince was in complete control of every aspect of his image, from what he wore, to how his hair looked, to how his band members looked, and even his friends and associated artists. With a team of seamstresses on hand at Paisley Park, they could churn out outfits at a moment's notice from Prince. Prince was able to dress in such a unique way, be it exploring his feminine side to full macho rock star look, and sometimes mashing it all up together. It's truly rare for a man to appear so feminine but also retain his masculinity at the same time. He is also the only man I've ever seen to wear a white fur coat and make it look damn cool. Prince's unique style and music was a perfect fit for the fashion world, with his music being used on catwalks all around the world, with Prince even creating his own mixtape, The Versace Experience Prelude to Gold, which was given to attendees of the Versace collection at Paris Fashion Week in 1995.
Welcome to the Dawn. You have just accessed
The Versace Experience.
The cassette mainly featured unreleased tracks from Prince's upcoming Gold Experience album, but also featured tracks from the MPG's Exodus album, tracks from the MPG Orchestra's album Kama Sutra, and tracks from 24, the still unreleased third album by Madhouse, Prince's jazz-inspired band. Prince over the years would also appear at many fashion shows, always creating massive excitement just by his presence. In 2007, Prince's Chelsea Rogers song from his Planet Earth album was written and inspired by the model Chelsea Rogers. During Prince's 2007 residency in London, he gave a surprise performance of the track at the opening of a fashion show for designer Matthew Williamson. With members of his band taken to the catwalk as the track began to play, Prince, looking incredible, starts to sing while still sitting in the front row seat. Just too damn cool. The performance was recorded and used for the official video of the track. These are just two amazing examples of Prince's influence on the fashion world and how he used it to promote and push his music. When it came to promoting his music, Prince again was forward-thinking, always ahead of the curve, and always thinking out of the box. But it cost Prince a great deal to get to that point. Prince famously went to war against his record company Warner Brothers, as he felt trapped and constrained by how much and how often he could release his music. He changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol and wrote slave on his face to highlight the fact that they owned his master recordings. And he refused to give Warners any new music, deciding to see out his contract by giving them songs from the vault. To the general public, Prince had simply lost the plot. He was mocked constantly in the media for changing his name and writing slave on his face.
I mean, Michael, is he a normal guy? That's what people are sitting at home right now saying, is he a normal guy?
Veronica, normal is a relative term.
They simply didn't understand how important this fight for artists' rights and freedom was, and what impact this would have on the music industry, still to this day. For the ones who stuck by Prince during this period, they were treated to an incredible period of change in Prince's image, style of music and performance, as Prince was simply on fire. When Prince has a point to prove and fire in his belly, his creativity goes off the scale. And during this period of conflict with Warner's, he scored his first UK #1 single with The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, with Warner's allowing him to release it independently, probably thinking it would be a minor hit and put him back in his box. Would love to have been a fly on the wall at Warner's when it reached #1. However, even though it was an incredible time for the fans, Prince's mass market appeal suffered due to all the negative press and people not understanding what Prince was fighting for. At his Ultimate Live Experience tour in 1995, Prince announced he wouldn't play any of Prince's hits and would only play the new music. This decision, although not entirely true as Prince did perform 1 or 2 hits, ultimately hit ticket sales, with many of the shows struggling to sell out, something unheard of for a Prince tour. Also, without the financial backing of a major label, the cost of moving the stage setup around from venue to venue proved to be too much, and parts of the Endorphin Machine setup were left behind after the Wembley shows in London to save costs. Regardless of these issues, you have to admire Prince's fearlessness as he took on the record industry establishment single-handed, refusing to be silenced or ignored. Prince eventually gained his freedom from his Warner's contract, and once free, he began to distribute his music as and when he wanted. Prince became one of the earliest adopters of the internet. Fascinated with the one-to-one interaction with his fans, Prince had a number of different websites over the years, with his MPG Music Club being the most popular model, offering a subscription service for fans who could then access exclusive tracks, members-only album releases, exclusive live video clips, first-choice concert tickets, and the chance to attend sound checks, where Prince would often take questions and requests on what songs to play. This model was way ahead of its time, with Prince selling his music online long before streaming sites became the norm. Prince would also give away his music as cover mounts with newspapers, guaranteeing his music getting into the homes of thousands of readers. Prince also gave away his music again with his concert tickets, again getting his music into the hands of thousands of potential new listeners. Although Prince had a love-hate relationship with technology and refused to let his music be used on YouTube and later removed his music from some streaming platforms, there is no denying his early adopting of the internet, and his model of selling direct to fans made a huge impact on the way music is distributed today. Prince would later sign a deal with Jay-Z's Tidal streaming service for his Hit and Run Phase 1 and Phase 2 albums, citing the importance of Tidal as it was owned by the artist that created it, Jay-Z. Prince also re-signed with Warner's in 2014 in a deal that would finally see them returning his master recordings to him. Prince's last attempt at selling direct to his fans came with the peer-to-peer model, also for the Hit and Run Phase 2 album. This would involve fans being able to buy in bulk direct from Prince in order to sell on to other fans, effectively removing the middleman. For the most part, it worked. I myself bought a copy peer-to-peer direct from Minneapolis, but apparently in some cases, people selling them on added on expensive shipping and postage costs to make extra money. During his life, Prince gave his support to many different charities and raised awareness for many important issues. Prince was extremely socially aware, which often produced some of his most stunning music, Sign of the Times being the best example. After the death of Freddie Gray, a a 25-year-old African American who died from injuries sustained whilst in police custody in Baltimore in 2015. Prince was compelled to write the track Baltimore in response to his death and the riots that took place after. Furthermore, Prince organised a dance rally for peace, party and concert at Paisley Park, during which attendees were asked to donate $30 and wear something grey. Prince then headed to Baltimore a week later to stage a Rally for Peace event at the 14,000 capacity Royal Farms Arena. Prince allowed Tidal to live stream an hour of the concert, and fans who logged in to listen donated a total of $17,323, a figure matched by Tidal, which was then donated to the Open Society Institute of Baltimore. Prince also donated an undisclosed amount from the concert proceeds to the NAACP's Afro-Academic, Cultural, Technological and Scientific Olympics, and to Baltimore's Youth Works and One Baltimore programs. After Prince passed away, many stories came out of how Prince had helped countless charities and people, especially in his hometown of Minneapolis. Prince often donating vast sums of money anonymously. Prince had received enough praise and accolades for his music career, and when it came to helping other artists, he didn't want the attention drawn to himself. He just wanted to give back. When you look back at everything Prince has done in his life, and the influences still being felt today, from artist rights to music distribution, from fashion to live performance, and all of Prince's philanthropic work, and the influence still to come from all the unreleased vault material, it's clear to see that Prince truly was an icon of our times.